Alrighty, well, hello, Sam's fans. We're back this week as usual on Wednesday. We have Facebook Live to talk about music therapy, art therapy, Sam's fans related stuff, and all kinds of news and exciting events happening. So today we have Kamile Geist joining us. She is the director of music therapy at Ohio University.
Hello.
And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. Thanks for joining us and for being here to share your knowledge.
Well, thank you for having me.
So to start, why don't you tell us a bit about your background and where you've been and where you're at now?
Well, my background, first of all, I have an undergraduate degree in music education from Baylor University, and I was a band director in North Dallas for a few years. And I had an opportunity to work with some children with autism, and they came into my band rehearsal, and I was just floored with how well they received the music, and they were smiling and laughing, and I thought, I want to know why that's happening. So I decided to quit my job and go back to school and get my master's degree in music therapy and become a clinical music therapist. And I did that in the public school for several years, opened my own private practice, and decided I wanted to get into the research a little bit and learning how it works. And so I became a professor at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. And then I loved being a professor. And so I came to Ohio University about 16 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. And now you're the director of music therapy. So I'm sure you have lots of responsibilities.
Yeah, well, we have, at first I wasn't the director, and I learned a lot from the person, Louise Steele, who was our director at the time. And, but it's such a wonderful program at Ohio University. And in my position, first of all, we have an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree, and we have 3 full-time faculty. But we also we hire a company, Central Ohio Music Therapy, who helps us with our supervision of students. So, and we range from 90 in the program to 120, depending on what's going on. So it's a pretty large program. I oversee it, but I am certainly not responsible for everything that happens. I have a great team.
Right, for sure. Just real quick, so Sarah Bentley says hello. She's
Hello,
watching.
Sarah. Sarah has been teaching. Well, first of all, Sarah, I know you had her on Facebook Live a little while ago. She is a fantastic music therapist. She works at Nationwide Children's Hospital. Yeah. And but she also, and of course, she's fantastic because, well, not just because, but she did her undergraduate degree at Ohio University, and then came back and did her graduate degree. And now she teaches for us and supervises our students. Hi, Sarah. Very happy to see you, or to see your see that you said hello.
Right, awesome. And we also have Patty's Nikki's mom, and she watches every single one of our broadcasts.
Oh, nice. So hello.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, hello. So, okay, and so we're talking about kind of what you're doing now. You're the director of music therapy program, but you're also doing some other things, some research. So let's just talk a bit about that.
The research. Well, first of all, in my position, I'm responsible for teaching. I'm also responsible for having service opportunities so not only do I serve the School of Music and the College of Fine Arts and the university, but I also serve our AMTA National Association. So those are very important. Teaching and serving are very important to me, but also part of my job is to conduct research. And so my research interests right now are working with parents. Well, first of all, I started working with teachers of very young children, ages 0 to 5, some in preschool, and seeing how teachers interacted with children and helping teachers understand how to use music and rhythm to help children calm or children attend. And then we moved it to a lab study at the College of Medicine at Ohio University, where we actually measured the stress hormones of the parent caregiver of infants. And so we're looking at how rhythm and music can impact stress of caregivers when working with their children.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that, and I think that's great research and possibly some opportunities for collaboration in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I would love it. I would love it. You know, I enjoy work. I enjoyed the lab
Hmm.
environment at the College of Medicine. But what I'm looking forward to is using those results and going out to the community and
Right.
really collaborating with people who just want some tips on how to use music to engage their children. And in different populations too. You know, maybe some populations where the children are more at risk
Yeah.
due to environmental factors. So these are things that I'm hoping that the results of this study, which have not been published yet, but we're working on it,
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
impact future work.
Yeah, for sure. So, keep tuned for that. And I think
Yes,
that's something great that
more
you're
soon.
doing. And yeah, it'll lead to good stuff. Now,
Hmm.
today I also wanted to go deeper into music therapy education. So, where we are right now, where we have been, and where we're headed. So let's just
Right.
start with, super brief history of music therapy education.
History of music
Yeah.
therapy education. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll do my best. I mean, we've been around since 1950,
Mhm.
and the first music therapy programs were developed then when we had our first national association that was formed. And I can't tell you all the numbers. I know that it's a long history of different programs with undergraduate and graduate programs that have formed throughout the years. And Ohio University, we're actually celebrating our 60th anniversary this year. And we have a little plug for us, but one of the first educators, well, not the first, but one of the first educators in music therapy, William Sears, taught our first music therapy courses. So it's 60 years, as far as time doesn't seem that long, but our profession has really grown. And there are a variety of programs around the country who offer undergraduate degrees in music therapy, because you can become a music therapist with an undergraduate degree. There's also what we call equivalency degrees, where people have an undergraduate degree, say in music education or performance, and they want to become a music therapist, so they can go to a program and do that equivalency. We have master's plus equivalency, where someone wants to get their master's degree while they're getting their certification. And we also have degrees that are master's only. And then we have PhDs. Now, we have PhDs in music therapy. We have PhDs in music education, where someone concentrates in music therapy. So the programs from the 1950, when those first few programs started out, it's really grown.
Yeah.
And it's based on how the community, calls for what we need music therapy. So, for example, the past 5 years across the country, we've had this huge insurge of students who want to become music therapists. And I think it's because the research is showing the impact of music on health and wellness, and all the expressive arts therapies. But there's a lot more. There's some research on music and health, and so we're seeing more people wanting to actually learn how to do that, who are musicians.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. And yeah, the key takeaway for me is how music therapy and music has been used for healing for hundreds and thousands of years.
Oh yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But then standardized music therapy education is relatively young, like you say, 60 years. And for me, coming from Mexico, we don't even have a music therapy association. We
Mm-hmm.
have maybe one or two colleges that teach music therapy um, in a bachelor's level, but it's
Right.
really growing. So definitely you see it in many new places. I think Ghana, for example, and South Africa are some of the most recent ones. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely growing, but there's a lot more to do. And like you say, I love that the research is showing that these therapies are efficient and they make a change. And yeah,
Yeah.
we just
The
gotta keep
wonderful
doing
the wonderful thing about music therapy is that we have such a diversity of populations or people that can be impacted by what we do.
it. Mhm.
And so the training is designed for students to learn a variety of approaches and techniques, but that can work with a variety of populations,
Right.
all ages, people who just, can use the music to help with their health and wellness.
Mhm.
And so this is a wonderful thing about our profession. It
Yeah.
makes it difficult sometimes for our profession, because it's hard to get all the quantitative and qualitative evidence for all of those diverse populations, but it's growing and people are needing it. And I'm happy to hear about some of the some of the programs that you're talking about in Ghana and in Mexico. I was in Ecuador this past summer. There's a new Ecuador, an association for music therapy in Ecuador, and they all came to see me present, but it was at a university there. And so there is interest. I mean, it's the association helps so much to, I mean, when you establish an association in a group and then you establish a collaboration with a university, then you can start, and then you can start seeing where you can provide services and that type of thing. So it's an exciting time. We're growing, and that's what we want to see. But it also can be challenging to keep up with the evidence in all these areas.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just kind of piggybacking on that, we already started talking about trends. You say that
I jumped right into trends, didn't I?
Yeah, no. And so we're seeing like a surge of music therapy students, people who want to study this. So what else do you see happening? Do you see people going more for bachelor's, master's, more or less? What do you see?
Well, it's again, that association and the and how the association is moving towards an entry level is a key. And there was some movement over the past few years about music therapy moving to what we call a master's level entry, meaning that all programs would have to offer you'd have to get a master's degree in order to be a board certified music therapist. And that was proposed to AMTA, which is our national association here. And recently that was rejected. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that but it did show that we need to pay attention to what we're doing in music therapy and growing our profession. And so there's been a lot of discussion about that. And at the last conference, a commission on education and clinical training for the 20th century music therapists was formed. And it's very exciting because this group is a visionary group that is trying, we're like, let's figure out what's the most appropriate education for a professional right now and see where it takes us. So even though there are some people in our profession who were like, we want master's level entry. Well, the association decided not to, and we're moving forward. So in that sense, it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, for sure. I also just thought about something else. Some people who are watching might think or might not know about music therapy, what you actually learn, how you do it. So why don't we just talk a little bit about what does music therapy education actually entail?
Oh, I'm happy to talk about that. So at Ohio University and universities across the country that offer an undergraduate degree in music therapy, they have to be, first of all, there's an accreditation process through the National Association of Schools of Music, and there's an approval process through AMTA. And I served as the co-chair of the AMTA approval committee. We're called APAC. So I've helped review a lot of different programs from around the country. And there's some standard things that students have to learn. First of all, they have to be strong musicians. And so there's a music core that they have to take and they have to learn. This might include music theory, performance, being in ensembles. The three primary instruments that music therapists take typically to a session, are percussion, their voice, guitar, piano. So those instruments are what they learn in their education. Music. Now, there are many other things that they learn. Music, they learn about clinical musician skills, all those types of things. But that core of musician is important. At Ohio University, we also offer, and other universities do this as well, music therapy theoretical courses. And at Ohio University, we have a class in assessment and evaluation. We have an introduction to music therapy course. We have a recreational instruments. We have music therapy for mental health, etc. So we have a variety of theoretical courses. And then also, because it's a bachelor's level entry, our students, and this is how it is across the country, have to have clinical practicum. And the clinical practicum right now is a minimum of 180 pre-internship clinical face-to-face time with clients. And so that's while they're on campus in an undergraduate program. Then after they complete all these, in their undergraduate program, they're also taking behavioral science electives. So some of our students have a minor in psychology or even have double majored in psychology. They learn about child development, they learn about biological development, all these types of things. And then after they've completed all these coursework on campus, then they have an internship. And this is a 6 to 9 month internship. And they've got to do at least 1,200 hours, of that, if they've met their 180. So there's a lot of work into it. And it's not your 4-year program. It's 4 plus the 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
so
also
and then after that, they take a board certification exam. So in the United States, once they pass their internship and have passed and meet all the competencies, we have what we call professional competencies. Once they meet all those, then they take a board certification exam, and they need to pass that in order to get their MT-BC, music therapist board certified. That's definitely it in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also for people watching, the key takeaway is that music therapists are not just people who know a few songs and they come in and they sing, Elvis Presley and Beatles songs, and that's all they do, right? There's a lot of education behind that, a lot of learning, and a lot of, you say, the practicum internship. So they're actually highly qualified, and they've gone through an extensive program to get to be a music therapist.
Right. Well, they have to learn to operate in what we call our standards of practice. Yeah. And so they have to know how to conduct assessments. They have to know how to create a treatment plan. And then they have to be able to implement that treatment, and they're documenting on the treatment, similar to standards of practice for other clinical professions, such as occupational therapy or speech therapy. And so this is quite extensive, and they're also required to operate in what we call evidence-based music therapy practice, where they use the evidence, their clinical expertise, and the needs of the clients and the needs of their clients in order to deliver the best care. So it's pretty important in what but the thing is that their tool that other people don't have is how to use the music. And how to be flexible with the music. And that's our tool that really helps us connect with clients, but helps clients connect with themselves. And it promotes health and well-being, just like other expressive arts therapies do.
Yeah, for sure. I also forgot to mention earlier that if anybody has a question who's watching, feel free to write it in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer it, or Kamile will. And
I will. Okay. Thanks.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about with you was, what are just a couple, not going into details, but just a few challenges that you see facing music therapy education?
Music therapy education?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think that, wow, I know you prepped me for this, and now I'm coming up on it. And it's the challenge. I don't know exactly how to answer it. We have challenges every day with, I think the biggest challenges are diversity in client populations. And however, we do have a core of music therapy techniques, but the populations and the knowledge that we need to work in these different facilities and populations is growing. And there's so much that we need to know. And I think the challenge, and I think this is what the commission is addressing, is how do we keep up with the needs of the community and the needs of the facilities in our education, because it takes a long time once we find out what the needs are to start implementing it in our education. And I think that's probably one of the challenges, is knowing what a music therapist is needing to do right now, and making sure that we're teaching them, or we're thinking ahead of what a music therapist needs to do. I feel that that's probably our biggest challenge. There's others, but that's the one that just comes to mind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I think that's great also that there is this commission addressing uh, this issue and just trying to make sure that music therapy as a whole in the United States keeps growing and keeps addressing what needs to be addressed. So I think that's great.
I think maybe some challenges for our profession, and there are people that are working on this, is the advocacy for music therapy, and helping people understand that this is a therapy that can actually be so helpful to health and wellness. And sometimes it's hard to, I mean, you just have to see it. And I think that, and this misconception that music therapy is coming in and playing tunes, and there's nothing wrong with that, because that might be exactly what a client needs, but that there's more to it. And that I think that our evidence is growing our evidence is a challenge. And but there's people on it. AMTA is all about, getting on these priorities for our profession. Right. So I have a lot of hope for it. And what's exciting is around the world, people are like, arts and health, how can we address that? So my hope is that all these communities of people, music therapists, art therapists, that we all can come together, and all that, music and health, people that are maybe not using music therapy techniques, but are interested in health and well-being, that we can all come together and really make a difference in a coordinated effort for the health and wellness needs of society.
Right. Yeah, and I think sort of the call to action to our SAMS fans also is helping us share this content. I think these conversations that we are having are also good at raising awareness, but we also need to spread the word, right? So like if people are watching, just hit share and make sure that more and more people are learning that these therapists can actually have a deep impact in our communities and individuals and just everybody in general.
Yeah.
And then I also sort of wanted to briefly talk more specifically about Ohio University and our partnership with SAMS Fans.
Oh, it's very exciting. We're very happy to have you as partners with us.
Definitely. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, we started a scholarship for music therapy students last year. So we funded an initial scholarship for 4 years, and then you guys found a matching donor to be able to provide another scholarship for another student. So I think that's great, and that sort of goes along the lines of promoting advocacy and raising awareness about music therapy. So
well, I mean, it's so helpful to us because there are some talented and thoughtful prospective students out there who just, I mean, and college is expensive. It really is. And we appreciated Ohio University SAMS fans believing in us and the education that we provide for them. And so, I mean, we're very appreciative, but we also realize that it's expensive to go to college, and we don't want to miss someone who, because of expenses, can't help the world by going to school and learning how to do this. So we're very excited about that partnership. I know our students, we have the American Music Therapy Association of Students, our organization, our local chapter. They want to help as much as they can with anything with SAMS fans, because we believe so much in the work that has been done. And also that your organization is helping provide jobs for music therapists, and therefore providing appropriate services for children in need. So it's a win-win for us.
Definitely. And I think also for anybody watching, this is part of your donations, what you help us to do. And at SAMS Fans, it's really amazing. We're growing a lot. We're able to start new partnerships with hospitals, but also with universities. And we would love for this to keep to increase so that we may be able to give more scholarships for music therapy students, for art therapy students, and that we may continue to expand this awareness and this direct impact in music therapy education and the practice of therapy as well.
Thank you.
So anybody watching too, like if you want to go to this website, you will be able actually to know, to get to know the two students who got the scholarships the past year. So a little
They're
biography
wonderful students,
Yeah.
and they are in our program. They took their introduction to music therapy class last fall. They're learning the recreational instruments. They're in the music school, and they are, on fire for music therapy. So we're very happy that those students were chosen.
Yeah, for sure. So just go check out the website, and if you feel touched and moved, feel free to make a donation. That would also help a lot. Anything else that you think we missed?
I don't think so. I think that I think that we've answered just about everything that we were going to talk about. If anyone has any questions for me or has prospective students who want to become a music therapist, even if they don't want to come to Ohio University, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to come to Ohio University, because it's a great place to live. It's a great place to learn music. We have incredible music professors. But I'm happy to talk to anybody about the field of music therapy. And I know a lot about the programs around the country, very good programs, and I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions. But come visit us in Athens. We would love to see you.
Can I post your email in the comments?
Of course you can.
Can you?
And also make sure we have our, you may already have this, the Ohio University website,
Right.
That has our music therapy page and how to, audition and all those types of things. We have an audition season going on now. There's a music audition that's part of getting into the program. And so, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has, of course.
Definitely. So your email is K?
It's GEISTK. So it's Geist K at ohio.edu.
Yeah. But definitely, if you're interested or know somebody, go to their website and check out the requirements and all the classes and everything. But yeah, I don't see any other comments or questions.
Okay.
So,
well, hopefully people will get to watch it later if they weren't able to this afternoon. And so it was wonderful talking with you. And this was the first time I'd done something like this. So this is pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I appreciate your knowledge and being here, and looking forward to next time, maybe talking about your research.
I would love to talk about my research with my team. I didn't mention, and I meant to, is that I have a team of researchers that work with me. It's not just me. And the therapy, the intervention that we used had to do with music and dance. And so my colleague, Nathan Andari, is not a dance movement therapist. He's a professor here, but he has a lot of interest and knowledge in Laban work. And he and I worked together on this study. So the expressive arts working together is also a high interest to me.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to hearing about it. And again, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye. And thank you, Sam Sands, for tuning in.